Ladies and gentlemen, Roster Watch Nation, welcome back to I guess it's not the Roster Watch podcast because we're just here on YouTube today. This is the Roster Watch Pick'em show presented by Underdog. We are so pumped to be here with you to do the first Pick'em show of the season. We're going to have these every week after the SiriusXM radio show on Saturdays whenever we are whenever we have the Sunday main slate to look at as far as Underdog over there as far as their pick'em contests. Remember, you can sign up right now for a 50% deposit bonus up to $250 using promo code ROSTER. It would help us out greatly. We want to have a great partnership with Underdog here and get our users over there using that platform for their pick'em contests. And so use promo code ROSTER at Underdog Fantasy as you see below. You get a 50% sign-up bonus up to $250. That's promo code ROSTER. All right, we're talking today about the Friday night preseason slate where we have 3 games. Some interesting games tonight. Cody, is there one that you're most interested in?
I think we're in the same boat here with, I think anyway, because I got Pittsburgh Houston. Is the game I kind of want to focus in on. And the leading, I'll just say the leading candidate here as far as conversation goes, obviously Russell Wilson has been banged up throughout training camp, is not going to play. And the only 2 players that they have available for us over at Underdog Fantasy.com is Kyle Allen and Justin Fields. I just want to start off the rip with the quarterbacks. I would assume Kyle Allen's going to get a big chunk of play here, and I like the weaponry. I want to know what you kind of think of that 77.5 passing yards for Kyle Allen, who's the 3rd string quarterback right now in Pittsburgh.
Are you not showing Davis Mills available to you?
He's for Houston.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I thought that you were saying that the only quarterbacks available. It's like I'm seeing
for Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh quarterback.
Got it. All right. Yeah. I think it just comes down to how many series Fields is going to play. So we know that. So Houston's already played. So we have some idea from last week about what's going to happen, but we don't have an idea of, is Houston going to treat this as like a traditional second week game wherever we actually see, upwards of a quarter out of these players. I kind of don't think so. We also have word from Pittsburgh that they're going to play starters. That doesn't include Russell Wilson. It doesn't include some superstar dudes like, TJ Watt or Minkah Fitzpatrick. Doesn't look like he's going to play. Not that really applies to what we're talking about here, but it might give us an idea of sort of what they're thinking about the level. I'm thinking it's going to be Justin Fields in that first offense for 2 long series. If there's one series that's like a 3 and out, I think maybe 3 series. And I'm kind of thinking the same for Houston. So I don't know. We have for Fields 55.5 passing yards. That's a pass for me. The 77.5 for Kyle Allen. I think it seems interesting, but it's certainly not my favorite. Not one of my favorite ones. I think it's something that you could definitely consider. I think as far as okay,
I was just going to say just to keep it on Kyle Allen. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to keep it where I was at with that. That's mine for this game. The only 2 I'm going to take in this Pittsburgh Houston game is Kyle Allen over 77.5, and I'm going to go Quez Watkins 17.5 receiving yards, receiving plus rushing. There's only Scotty Miller, Darnell Washington, and Quez Watkins available for receiving options for Pittsburgh, and Quez was working in with the second team for most of camp that we've known so far. He hasn't been really working with the first team at all. So I'm betting on Quez getting the majority of the second half with Kyle Allen, and kind of just gonna put those 2 together. So those are my 2 picks from the Pittsburgh game.
I hadn't even thought about Quez Watkins. I think that's probably okay. Just staying on the Pittsburgh side, just one guy that I was thinking about was Najee Harris. They have his at 16.5 rushing plus receiving yards. And to me, that's just like, is he gonna get 4 carries? 4 carries, 5 carries? You know what I mean? It's like
on 2 drives,
4 carries and a target.
I don't know.
Okay, so maybe that's a stay away too. All right, like on the Houston side is where I have ones that I really like. The one that I like most by far is Cade Stover still available? Did they take him
21 and a half rushing plus receiving, I'm reading.
Okay, so I just read from Aaron Wilson with KPRC News down in Houston, and with whatever, I forget which radio station he's with now, but he was saying, so I didn't realize he's saying that Brevin Jordan's probably not going to play. Now we are going to get starters for a little while, with except for a couple of dudes, right? Like Stephon Diggs probably looks like he won't play. He's been DNP the last couple of practices. Noah Brown is not going to be suiting up. But we had God, who's the backup tight end that they, so Dalton Keene has been banged up. And people think that he's truly questionable to play. Tegan Quoriano, is it Tegan Quoriano? Is that how you say his name?
Yes. Yeah,
Quitoriano.
pretty much.
He got hurt in the Hall of Fame game last week, and so he won't be available. And if you just look at it, I mean, how long do you really think Dalton Schultz is going to play? You know, the other guys that they have. So if you look at their roster, they have Andrew Beck, who's a fullback, Dalton Keene, who they're saying probably won't play. Tegan Quitoriano was injured during the Hall of Fame game. Brevin Jordan, I figured he was going to play, but Aaron Wilson reporting today that he's not going to play. So that leaves Dalton Schultz, Cade Stover, and Andrew Beck. And as he even was last week, Cade Stover played the third most of anybody on that whole team, 72% of snaps. And Cade Stover is awesome, like 18 and a half receiving yards. Are you kidding? Like to me, like I'm taking the higher on that. Again, over on Underdog Fantasy. If you want to tail these picks or fade these picks or whatever, make sure to go over there and use promo code roster to get that deposit bonus. I'm also interested in Xavier Hutchinson. I think his was sitting at what, 25? Was it 24 and a half, 25?
18 and a half.
Oh, so 18 and a half. Okay. So on Prize Picks, it's a lot. I mean, if you're shopping between sites, it's like, that's a big dude, 18 and a half. I'm locking that in for the higher. And, I mean, dude, the guy was targeted 6 times last week and the game got cut off early. And here's the other thing to remember about the game getting cut off early. Joe Mixon's not playing in this one. So they've been really talking up Dameon Pierce. But I did look back at the game logs at the Houston Texans Hall of Fame game book from last week, and you don't see one mention of Jawar Jordan until the first touch of the second half. And I think that he would have played the entire second half and had a much bigger game than just the 3 carries or whatever that he ended up with on the stat sheet had that game not been called off early. So he's a guy that they're going to want to get a better look at. What is the number on Jawar Jordan? I don't feel as good about it as I do about Stover higher and Hutchinson higher, but I thought it was at least reasonable. 18. I have so many tabs pulled up.
18 and a half.
I mean, what do you think of that?
I think it's fine.
You're just, I mean, it's just
I'm middling on it. Like everything that we heard initially in the early part of camp would tell me Jawar Jordan, and then it was like I don't know. They signed Cam Akers. Like I just don't know. It's backfields are a little tougher. I think they would want to see as much as they can out of him because he only saw 3 carries last week. Like one of this game or the next game, I would say is going to be a game that Jawar Jordan's going to get. I would say a pretty good workload. Like they want to see what they have in him.
Yeah, man. So, all right. So let's move on to the next one. But my favorite one in that one is Cade Stover, higher. What is your favorite one? Is it Kyle Allen?
No, my favorite is probably Quez Watkins, 17 and a half. I'll go higher.
Okay. Let's move on to the next game then. What do we have next on the list?
Atlanta and Miami or Philly and Baltimore. I kind of want to go Philly, Baltimore. Where do you want to go?
Sure, we can do Philly at Baltimore. There's not much in this game that I absolutely love, so I'll be interested to hear who there. I think there's more that I'm going to be getting in here as far as my set of picks. And remember, when you're doing this, make a couple entries, right? Like take 3 of these, and you don't have to stack them all together. I'm making a bunch of different combinations, but it feels like the combinations that I've been putting together so far and that I've been building come from those other 2 games. So my biggest, whenever I look at Baltimore, and when I look at the running back situation, we know that Derrick Henry's not going to play in the preseason, right? We know that Keaton Mitchell's still on PUP. We know that Justice Hill is a player that they are very, very high on there in Baltimore. I'm not, do you remember the combine? How we're just like, why do they keep talking about Justice Hill? Like he's just such, you know what I mean? He's certainly a player who they feel like they know what they have in him. You know what I mean? So we know that there's no Lamar Jackson. This is going to be a Josh Johnson who's going to be starting here. I just feel like this is a deal where we're going to see Rasheen Ali, Chris Collier, and Owen Wright are going to be the main dudes who are going to be getting the football. And dude, Rasheen Ali is just a much better player than these other guys. And to me, that's one of my kind of core pieces of my entries here as I'm going through and I'm looking at them. The higher or lower on him is sitting at what? It is at 28.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I'd like it if it was a tiny bit lower, like 24.5 or something like that. But I do think that Rasheen Ali here would be my preferred play of all of them.
I have just one for Baltimore, and that's Devontae Walker, 18.5 rushing plus receiving. It's a guy that stood out in minicamp. It's a guy that has downfield ability. Averaged 17 yards per reception in 2023 for North Carolina. Averaged 25 yards per reception at Kent State his freshman year of college. So really, this guy is going to play downfield. Emory Jones is slated to be one of the quarterbacks that's playing. He's going to want to push that football downfield. And I think Devontae Walker is going to be that guy that all he has to do is connect on one football. And that's kind of what I'm playing for here. And Tez is not a guy that's going to garner a ton of targets. So it's a little bit of a volatile selection here, but I'm going to go higher Devontae Walker, the rookie.
Yeah, I like it. The only thing that worries me about that is they got a bunch of wide receivers that they're going to be going through here. I mean, they signed like Keith Kirkwood. They have, I think they just signed Russell Gage. They just Anthony Miller got signed. Like there's a bunch of these dudes.
Bunch of old donks.
So yeah, but I think that the Devontae deal is fine. Let's go to Atlanta, Miami. There's more here that I like. First of all, what do you think of Penix? I mean, it's probably what Penix is going to start and play a half or something like that, and then we're going to get Heineke for a quarter. And they just signed who? Nathan Rourke. Was that who it was? Let's see. I need to look and see.
Nathan Rourke from Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, I think that I could be wrong about. Yeah, Nathan Rourke. So they're going to want to get a look at him, but dude, I think that
Penix is a big number, 104, but it's a half.
That's what they're saying. They're predicting he's going to play a half. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
104, something like that. I don't know, man. It's like we know that Rondale Moore's not going to play. I doubt you that Drake London or Darnell Mooney play very much. Kyle Pitts. So it's going to be a lot of. I wish Casey Washington were available to us here.
Yeah,
I'd like to. I would really like it if they had him at some kind of 16.5 or something. But lo and behold, he's not available to us. My interest, man, Cody, in this game is more on the Miami side, and arguably my favorite one. It's really high, but it's the Jalen Wright, the 30.5. I saw a tweet this morning from Omar Kelly, who covers the team, saying that guy's going to get fed this preseason. They want to see exactly what they have in him. He's fast. He's really good. We know that. Well, I wouldn't say really. As far as preseason guys go, I feel like he's a high level kind of player. In this game, there's not going to be, we're not expecting any starters to really play here for Miami. It's going to be Mike White. It's going to be Skylar Thompson. What is Skylar Thompson's numbers?
Off like 100, actually 94 for me. I also don't have this is going to be something that's state dependent, but some states aren't going to have certain players. I don't have Jalen Wright. So some places are going to have.
You don't have Jalen Wright?
Yeah, I don't have Jalen Wright I'm in South Carolina. So, but I do have Malik Washington. I have Skylar Thompson, got these other guys, Selvin Ahmed, things of that nature. But I think some states are probably going to be a little bit different depending for whatever reason, but
let's see. Yeah. So Jalen Wright earlier today was sitting at 30.5. Do they have that back up? Yeah, Jalen Wright was okay, so now they've moved Jalen Wright up big time, dude.
Expecting a big game.
51.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Earlier they had it at 30.5 rushing yards. They've also added 1.5 receptions to him. They're like, so word's gotten out on this. I don't know if Jalen Wright is still my favorite play, but we just have, I mean, you have Savon Ahmed. Is he still up? Do they still have something for him? Because I'm not sure he's even going to play. He's been hurt.
He's at 20.5.
So I'm not sure he's going to play. So I would take the lower on that one. Are they really going to play Jeff Wilson for 40 plus 5 rushing plus receiving yards?
If you can get that, I would smash the under on that.
Yeah,
they're not going to play Jeff Wilson that much.
You're gonna the lower on Jeff Wilson. I like that. Man, this Jalen Wright thing really got out of control since I was doing research on this only like an hour ago. But yes, Savon Ahmed lower, and then
Jeff Malik Washington
lower, and then just the nuts. Malik Washington. This is the exact kind of spot for a Malik Washington. Really talented player who should be coming into some extended playing time with no starters, somebody who they really want to get a look at. So Malik Washington, of course, the rookie wide receiver there, 22.5 rushing plus receiving yards. We're going to go higher on that one. Do you have any thoughts about just the running? I'm not sure Tyler Algier or Bijan are going to play. Any thoughts about any of these guys? Would you, if you had to choose between Avery Williams at 23.5 rushing plus receiving yards and Jace McClellan at 30.5 rushing plus receiving yards, does one of those sound better?
Atlanta knows what they have in Avery Williams, I believe, because he was there last year. He's a receiving type of a satellite back with a little explosivity. They want to know what they have at Jason McClellan. The McClellan's a guy that they can potentially use, rookie out of Alabama, to come in and replace an Algier after the Algier rookie contract goes out. So I think they want to give Jason McClellan some carries. 29.5 rushing plus receiving yards. McClellan would be the one, if I go over or go higher between the two, would be for Jason McClellan, the rookie out of Alabama, to take a load of 8 to 10 carries for north of 29 yards.
Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code ROSTER again for that deposit bonus. Underdog Fantasy promo code ROSTER. Have a great Friday night, man. Go make some cash.